In a world shaped by quantum computations, Vireo had always found comfort in the predictable patterns of his life. As one of the principal minds behind the most revolutionary matchmaking technology, dubbed the quantum love finder, Vireo had been instrumental in creating a society where love was forecasted, methodically calculated using principles of quantum entanglement. According to this groundbreaking innovation, everyone's frequencies were mapped onto the fabric of the space-time continuum, and the theory postulated that for each frequency there was a compatible counterpart, making two people cosmically entwined. Soulmates, as per the decryption of this techno-romantic venture. Anticipating responses like waves before a shore, Vireo had long endorsed the quantum love finder and its flawless record of merging souls. Today, it was his turn to meet his paired match. An expectation hung in the air, pure, potent, and petrifying. Hunched over in front of the blinking screen, Vireo's heart pounded erratically, betraying his practiced stoicism. The error-proof algorithm was presenting him with his one true love. His fingers moved over the keyboard, initiating a search query into the encrypted database. The system hummed a rhythmic pulse while sorting through quantum-entangled frequencies, determining Vireo's soulmate. What popped up on the screen was a face, a woman staring back with a soft smile and warm eyes. According to the data, she was Callista, a research scientist specializing in astrophysics. Logically aligned with his own scientific career, the selection was faultless to anyone peering from the exterior. Yet, a gnawing doubt clawed at the pit of his stomach. He sought an emotion within him, a spark to affirm this digital decree, but found none. As he stared at her picture on the screen, he felt no pull, no silent recognition or magnetic desperation to know her. Suppressing the alarming feeling of disappointment, Vireo decided to follow through with the meetup. Maybe, he speculated, the sensations quantum foretold would materialize when they finally met. Statistical rationales amassed in his mind, pushing away the befuddling chaos of conflicting thoughts. A few days later, they met at the city's well-appointed rendezvous center, reserved for such crucial meetings. They sat on the opposite ends of a polished table, enclosed by a dome depicting the movement of celestial bodies. Between sips of coffee and statistical discussions about stars and atoms, Vireo glanced at Callista. There was no doubt she was impressive, her words painting a passionate picture of her love for the cosmos. The universe is mathematical, isn't it? The stars, bodies of cosmic equations floating in the endlessness of space, Callista mused with a gleam in her eyes. Vireo nodded, acknowledging the truth while exploring for traces of the predicted spark. He anticipated a wave of affection, a charge ignited by her words, but everything fell heartbreakingly flat. The encounter lacked natural flow, enforced more by quantum decree than mutual interest. He questioned the compatibility deemed unquestionable by his invention. Each attempt at connection met with intellectual collision, neither of them willing to divert from their well-ingrained paths of scientific absolutism. The disquiet steadily amplified until one evening, while grappling with this cognitive dissonance, Vireo decided to visit a quaint cafe tucked away in a city's edge. As he stepped inside, a lady with raven hair and burnished chestnut eyes glanced up from the counter. There, in the quiet corner of unquantified world, the first thing Vireo noticed about Irys was her lively laugh, enchanting and distinctive, breaking the rhythmic routine of his quantum-ordered life. Vireo found himself returning to Irys's cafe more often than he could statistically justify. There was an unpredictable charisma about Irys that circumvented his logical boundaries. Each conversation was an exploration, a dance on the fringe of his comfort zone. She spoke passionately about books, illustrated intricate latte art, and shared bits and pieces of her adventurous solo travel stories. Simultaneously, Vireo remained embroiled in a store-bought romance with Callista. They attended social gatherings, visited quantum theaters, and partook in city tours, the standardized sequence for the newly matched. But with each passing day, the absence of emotional connection became increasingly glaring. All the shared moments felt more like academic conferences than intimate encounters. His disparity grew as the population reveled in the hype of the quantum love finder. Every success story was celebrated, broadcasting love prophesied by and depended on quantum computations. Vireo felt a tap of despair claw into him. He was the architect of this calculated love chaos, and yet his own construction seemed to crumble before him. On an evening soaked in sunset hues, Vireo found himself back at Irys's cafe, craving an organic conversation that transgressed his scientific threshold. As he walked in, Irys brightened up, her eyes revealing an amicable familiarity. They chatted aimlessly, their discourse meandering through an array of subjects. In her company, he found an emotional retreat that felt genuine and spontaneous. It was a stark contrast to the calculative world that Vireo was used to inhabiting. There was an undeniable pull towards Irys, a pull stronger than any scientifically determinable quantum entanglement could offer. It nudged him in the corner of his heart, where logic failed to reach, a territory uncharted by quantum computations. With Irys, it was the shared smiles, the hidden glances, the unspoken camaraderie, all whispering the language of affection in ways quantum frequencies couldn't decipher. One day, a question slipped out of Irys while they were engrossed in a discussion about her latest read. "Who is your match, Vir?" The question hanged in the air like a fragile secret threatening to shatter. His momentary silence was disrupted by a ventilated admission. "It's not you, Irys." His honesty left the room suspended in silence, the euphoria of their conversation swallowed up by an uncomfortable realization. An acknowledgement palpitated between them, making meaningful eye contact over the worn-out wooden counter. For the first time, Vireo found himself getting entangled, not in the quantum predictions, but in the unpredictability of human emotions. Days turned into weeks, and their bond strengthened. Gathering enough courage, Vireo asked Irys out on a date, defying the quantum forecasts. Irys, feeling a similar pull towards him, agreed. This marked an important point in Vireo's existence, as he took the first step into a world where love was not calculated by probabilities and equations, but by shared interests, mutual understanding, and magnetic attraction. It was a world where unpredictable soulful frequencies dared to challenge the deterministic universe. Vireo sat across Irys at the reminiscent cafe, glancing at the woman he had come to appreciate outside the quantum lines. Their conversations flowed effortlessly, candid, untouched by scientific jargons or cosmic calculations. It was there, amidst this raw human connection, where Vireo experienced a warmth he was told to anticipate with Callista. The sensation was unfamiliar but invigorating enough to eclipse the looming risk of societal backlash. Days rolled into each other, each one affording Vireo the luxury of choice and freely experienced emotions. His before-buttoned-up life began unfolding new experiences in every corner. There were breakfast dates at Irys's cafe, late-night readings over vintage poetry, shared smiles, hidden blushes, and eventually, a gentle, endearing love. A love untold by his creation, yet the most authentic one he had ever felt. Yet, in a world that worshipped the quantum love finder, the notion of quantum misfits was unfathomable. When public rumors began circulating, the first instinct was to dismiss it as a glitch in quantum calculation. But as time solidified these controversial narratives, the community became restless, leading to an upheaval in the scientific circle that had long sworn by the infallibility of the quantum love finder. Vireo's controversial romantic affiliation instigated a storm of unprecedented magnitude within the scientific corridors. The rebellious revelation that the creator himself had defied the set system was formidable enough to rattle the once unshakable faith in quantum-computed soulmates and stirred controversy. Doubt started to infiltrate the city, and residents began fearing a potential breakdown of the carefully maintained social order. As the magnitude of their accidental rebellion expanded, Vireo and Irys found themselves at the forefront of a societal shift they hadn't intended to instigate. Through prompted interviews and encouraged dialogues, they narrated their story of organic connection, of a romance that bloomed outside the rote, encoded by quantum entanglement. Though their confession met with substantial resistance, with critics arguing for a quantum error, it also instigated cause for contemplation. A rare but growing number of people seemed to resonate with Vireo and Irys's experience. Slowly, hitherto unnoticed stories began to surface, stories of those who had experienced similar collisions of emotions that diverged from quantum decrees, stories of more quantum misfits. The bold defiance of these two individuals sparked a ripple effect. Resonating with the unheard voices that had been drowned, in the orchestrated unanimity of the quantum love finder. Their relationship, once an unsettled whisper, had erupted into a thunderous echo, sending seismic waves throughout the city that aimed for quantified love. In the face of severe backlash, Vireo and Irys found themselves branded as quantum misfits, an uncomfortable example of the chaotic emotional rebellion disrupting their calculated society. The intensity of their public scrutiny peaked as Vireo was summoned to present a discourse on his apparent rebellion. Standing amidst a sea of skeptical faces, he fought stage nerves to voice out his journey, a tale of quantum dissonance. His narration was stark, bearing his reality for the world to dissect and discuss. His words reverberated across the hall as he shared, "Love, as I've come to understand, isn't merely a product of quantum computation. It's an intricate emotion, fabricated through shared moments, experiences, and understandings." His admission brought on a wave of astonishment, each person grappling with the creator's apparent disillusionment with his creation. While Vireo shared his heart on a public platform, Irys faced her own storm back at her cafe. Regular patrons were suddenly reticent, viewing their cheery barista through a prism of suspicion and curiosity. A cold void descended upon her once vibrant cafe, the chimes of casual chatter replaced by harsh whispers. Ruby-cheeked smiles were traded for stoic stares, and regular lattes were sipped with discerning quiet. The world outside escalated into unruly chaos, scientists questioning the legitimacy of Vireo's claims, sociologists alarmed at the societal impact, and poets penning verses about free will love. As this transformation unfolded, Vireo and Irys found themselves at vortex, with their revelation slowly gaining wider acceptance. The quantum entanglement theory of love, once a revered scientific breakthrough, was now being questioned, dissected, and discussed more critically than ever. Shops, cafes, and even classrooms saw heated debates around the limits of quantum love. Scientists were tossed onto a twilight path, tracing their steps back, hunting for potential oversights. As the wheels of change gathered acceleration, Vireo noticed a surprising development. More stories of quantum misfits emerged from the shadows, people who were experiencing similar emotional conflicts. Some had remained silent out of fear, others had dismissed their feelings as anomalies. Through this turmoil, Vireo and Irys stood firm by each other, bolstering each other's spirits. They transformed from outliers to spokespeople, articulating their stance in television debates, rallies, and even scientific symposiums. This shared crucible of rebellion and resistance deepened their connection, binding them in an ethereal bond that the quantum love finder, ironically, had failed to foresee. As the controversy reached its peak, a clandestine investigation into the quantum love finder's algorithm was initiated, guided by a group of skeptic quantum physicists. Days turned into weeks, as scientists worked tirelessly, and the world held its collective breath, awaiting the verdict on the infallible system's fallibility. And then, on a day that began like any other, a revelation unfolded that left the populace in utter disbelief. The investigation, thorough and probing, had discovered the flaw: incomplete computation of quantum fields leading to exclusion of the unpredictable variable of human free will. The city was washed in a silence that whispered the term system error. Vireo sat in the silence of his apartment, the report glaring back at him from the screen. All of his life's work, his groundbreaking innovation, had been missing an essential factor. The logic he had relied on had faltered, thrusting him into a sea of ironic relief and subdued dismay. News of the error spread like wildfire, sparking discussions, debates, relief, and a fair amount of confusion. The credibility of the quantum love finder suffered an intense backlash as the society began reassessing their belief in quantum-predicted soulmates. Yet, amidst this pandemonium, one thing started gleaming clear. Love wasn't quantifiable to perfection. It was erratic, vibrant, and driven by choice. There was a certain beauty in its unpredictability, in the freedom to choose, and the courage to accept love in its organic form. Within this massive paradigm shift from deterministic soulmates to choice-based love, Vireo and Irys's relationship started gathering acceptance. They no longer needed to defend their bond or justify their preferences. What was once a symbol of defiance had started shaping into the norm. Vireo visited Irys at her cafe, noticing the subtle changes that had taken place. The earlier barbed gazes had softened, the stiffened smiles had relaxed, and the once empty chairs were filled with people rediscovering their bandwidth of emotional freedom. Over lattes, amidst the cozy chatter of patrons, Vireo and Irys found solace in the revolution they had unintentionally sparked. As they leaned towards each other, hands clasped under the warm light, they revelled in their beautiful, complicated journey out of the quantum labyrinth into a world that finally acknowledged their genuine, unpredictable love. Inch by inch, the city began rehabilitating to a time before the quantum constraints, relearning societal dynamics powered by human connection, choice, and unpredictability. This monumental shift bore testament to the transformative power of emotions, painting a tale in the annals of this city where love had once been a victim to calculations, and how it rose, reclaiming its place in the wild, wonderful stasis of existence.